Hello, folks. Thanks for joining us for another Vintage Legends. So, I am here today with the guys from Smoke Over Elsewhere who are sitting currently in Nottingham, where it's, I don't know, is it pissing down with rain there today for you guys?
No, it's been quite nice actually. We were out with the dog for about 2 hours, and it was really sunny and
Lovely.
yeah, it was quite nice.
Makes a change.
I suppose that's what happens when you're from Glasgow, isn't it? It's par for the course. Listen, thanks you guys for joining us this evening. If I can start by just finding out, as usual, just a bit about the music you guys play.
Well, I kind of, I think it's self-described like southern hard rock. I take a lot of influence from like people like Luke Combs and Brad Paisley in the country scene.
Yeah,
like
cowboy.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other influences, which are
then like Blackstone Cherry, and then I grew up listening to a lot of like 90s Metallica stuff and things like that. And then I found
Arguably the best.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion for some, but loads can't beat it.
I was born in '95, so when I got like into rock, that was sort of the Metallica that was on like Kerrang and stuff for me.
Yeah.
And then like bands like Theory of a Dead Man, that kind of like, I suppose, just standard sort of rock music as I was growing up. Then I found the Cadillac 3 just like around COVID, and it's well, they've got a song called Sabbath on Cornbread, which I think describes it perfectly. It's taking those like metal influences from growing up a rock fan, but those guys grew up in like Tennessee and sort of around that sort of area. So taking the music from their parents as well and creating what they like to call country fuzz, and it just kind of
inspired.
it kind of rattled me with, along with like Blackstone Cherry and those kind of bands. So weirdly, a guy from the Midlands decided to start writing like southern country rock music.
Why not?
Listen, that's what makes the world go round, you know. We've got, you know, Jade Halliwell, for example, takes a vintage endorser, and she plays all sorts of different country stuff, you know. So it's you know, it's what you like in it. You know,
Yeah.
Tuskhead in the Netherlands, well, same sort of thing, you know. It's what you enjoy and being able to do something with it, you know.
Growing up,
And
I was Cherry as well, so like to be playing in a band that's like influenced by that, and knowing I'll take like little influences from bands such as that, and like Soil, Alice in Chains, kind of like, oh, I love it. Like, so I know all of that is going to have a pretty good mix to add to the band as well.
I've always said it's about like taking influences and like they come together and you create your own little genre.
Yeah,
that's the thing. There's a difference between bands that are influenced by something and bands that basically just want to rip something off. You know, like you can tell the difference a mile away. You know, it's, you know, like Diet Metallica or something like that. You know, it's yeah. But yeah, it's good to, you know, put forward what you're actually influenced by and what you're passionate about into your music, you know. Otherwise, why bother, you know?
It's like how I love how you use like your pedals a lot. Like he's upgraded his pedal board. So like Jack White influences heavily.
Like a lot of octaves. I use the Digijack whammy quite a bit as well, and it's kind of taken my sound from kind of southern country-ish and
cool as hell. Like solos and stuff like that. Just having the weird little sounds. I'm really experimental with like different, like, oh, what weird noise can we get out of this thing? Do you know what I mean? So I'm really excited about it, even though it's not my board.
Well, it's come from the previous lineup before the sort of hiatus last summer. We had a second guitarist and kind of always had, and it was kind of a decision that I made to just keep it as a 3. It just kind of seems to make things easier, even from the small time that we were a 3-piece before. But I found that kind of spending a bit more time, like just playing a bit more and then expanding my array of crazy sounds.
But also just being more confident in yourself, like having that confidence. I think we gel, like we've picked up with Jake, our new drummer, and like we gel really well to get like, it's quite effortless gelling. do you know when you play with a group of people sometimes and it's like, oh, it's a bit
It can be a bit
forced, or it's a bit
difficult,
like,
yeah.
oh, but it's not really like that, is it? So I feel like without that, it'd be a bit of a different story.
Yeah, I think like, especially coming from sort of previous lineups, because I think with the relaunch and everything after hiatus, this will be like the fourth full lineup that I've had since sort of trying to get things started off the ground. So looking at it now and where things are with the sort of energy in the room, I'm excited to see what's coming sort of from here onwards.
Yeah,
That's cool. Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes it is just a bit of time needed to try and get the right dynamic, and sometimes it's trying things that work and trying things that don't work, and it's the horribly awkward moments where you try things that don't work, and you're just like, "This is horrible," you know. But it's
yeah.
you live and learn with these things, and it's just good that things are kind of coming together now. I can see obviously you've got hiding behind you guys a couple of vintage guitars sitting there.
Oh,
How
yeah.
did you guys stumble upon the vintage in the first place?
Well, it was, I think it was years and years ago. One of my friends, he had, I think it was really old sort of vintage that his dad brought in. It was like his first guitar. And
Okay.
it was one of them things that always kind of stuck with me, is it was just a really nice guitar to play. And we always sort of joked about it being like sort of cheap and first guitar, but it was kind of just sang beautifully and kept going. And then when it came to me looking for something new, because I had two Squire Telecasters before. I had like an Affinity model in one of their like ones with the humbuckers in. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
And I love tellies. I love like the single coil tone, and I've spent a lot of time like looking at stuff. And I settled on the V130 originally because with having the P90, it was kind of the middle ground. And after playing that for a while, I wanted to get a Telecaster again, so I went with the V62, the Icon, and it's like the sort of the Road One look and all the distressing on it, even down to there's some detailing on like the control plate and everything.
Yeah.
It's
really pretty.
It just kind of fits with. I think like that sort of southern kind of rock vibe, and then I really like the inlay stickers, just because you can kind of personalize a guitar without going too crazy and spending ridiculous amounts of money on mods and going a bit mad. And I found the snake one that's on there, and it's gorgeous. Absolutely, it looks great in photos and videos and stuff like that. So
matches the marketing. It does well.
And it's kind of my like cowboy builder version of a pro shop.
That's the thing. Sometimes like we'll come back to the pro shop stuff, obviously, but I think sometimes it is just, I don't know, you do little things and it makes it a little bit more like your sort of thing rather than something just off the shelf, and it doesn't have to be mental, you know. Like
I think sometimes it's like the combination of little things, like you say, rather than like overdoing it with things, which is like happening a lot in a lot of these new like models from different brands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I know someone that's got quite I don't know what it is, but it's a very like metal guitar, and it's got like 6 switches and kill switch in it. It's great.
It's a machine.
I'd get confused with it all.
Yeah.
But then like the bass actually came from because I was playing a vintage, and our old bass player didn't have a bass, so we used it was a gear for music, like it was like 90 quid, or it was something like that was just sat
other ones.
It did the job for a little bit, and then we borrowed, it's actually sat next to me, we borrowed a phone Thunderbird off one of my friends.
I hate it. I hate that Epiphone. I rehearsed with it the other week, and I literally walked out the rehearsal like, I'm never using this again. It's so heavy.
They look beautiful, they sound great, but the headstocks are so weighted on the Epiphones.
I had like one really hench arm after it.
It was a Facebook Marketplace job. It was one of those where it was like, we need a bass, I need to give this back to my friend, and I keep saying
it's
this.
It's a 2003 ES2.
Yeah, I think it's either 2000 or 2003.
Which is the year after I was born. Which
but we drove to Wrexham in North Wales. Met a guy called Steve.
He was lovely. Steve.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Shout out, Steve.
He actually brought it from vintage, brand new. He said that he got one of the like old catalogs
Okay.
and like ordered it properly, like you did before Wi-Fi connections and crazy internet being
I
everywhere.
have a couple of old guitar catalogs.
So, well, it was one of them. We found it, and he was really nice. Gave it to us for I think it was like 130 quid, so a really good price.
I feel
Yeah, it's indeed.
Do you know what? Like fresh set of strings in it, and to say that it's
it's
over
so like as well as it's
2025, so like over 20 years old, and it's still
it's
like,
so comfortable, reliable, but at the same time it sounds amazing. Like I don't, like I say, like I played with the Epiphone, and even though it's like obviously a nice, well put together thing, I just can't do it.
It's the way
that.
But it was like I've heard that the big like soap bar bass pickups are a nightmare for sound guys. And if that one's 20 years old, I would hate to be a sound guy with one that's just come out of the factory.
Yeah, true.
Because it's impressive that it's still like basically brand new. Like luckily Steve kept it on his wall most of its life, but it's
getting its use now.
And it's nice that Grace was born in North Wales, so it's nice that you've got a Welsh base to go with it.
I was born in Scotland. So
what more can you ask for? I know as well I used to have one of the Sunburst V96s, but as with all the other guitars I normally have, well, not all, I have quite a few that I've kept, but as with a lot of them, I've kind of sold one to go and buy something else, and then the distant, and I ended up that I think I got rid of the V96, ended up with a VRS 100, which was the kind of PRS kind of style one at the time.
Yeah.
Which is now with one of my mates. He uses it. So I'm a guitar down, so I need to get a new guitar. Well, perfect reason. But I've got a VJ74 just now, the kind of jazz bass kind of style thing in black that I've been using for recording stuff, and it's amazing. And it doesn't go every time you put a strap on the thing. So
that was my issue. Like like trying to hold it.
It's they look really cool. There's no two ways about it. They do look really cool, but unless you've got like a kind of leather strap or something that's pretty wide,
yeah,
it just goes. In terms of with you guys, you've probably answered what I would normally ask next in terms of why you play the guitar. So let's be pretty much qualified. If you were to, I don't know, get a kind of a pro shop or something, what would you think you would get if you're something like that? What do you think you would get if you were to get pro shops?
I see. I have a look at the like there's the pro shop sort of gallery, and I like looking. I like looking at guitar.
We always have a look.
I'm quite guilty for. I've got like little lists on like 4 different music websites of like just crap I want to buy, and like especially studio gear. That's a really dangerous alley to lead down with them.
I'm like, no risk. No, not yet.
But,
Wait.
I think it's basically it's pretty much that. I think it's the V52 like distressed like that, but it's got the Bigsby like bridge, and
okay.
Like I love a Bigsby, and I've always wanted a guitar with one, and like that just kind of it's very much similar to that, and it's like the road horn's a bit different, so I liked it. And then there's the I think it's the it's really heavy relic like SG style. I think it's the VS6.
VS6, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it on there, and I've never really liked SGs, and I saw that, and it just really popped out to me.
You showed that one me, didn't you?
Yeah,
it was like, look at this.
Is that the satin black one, or is it the gold one?
It's it's like the really heavy relic vintage white, and it's.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
I don't know, like SGs have always been a bit of a love-hate for me, and I saw that and was just like, do you know what, I might have to. And then I think for you
know exactly what I want.
I know Grace really likes the Joe Doe.
the
the bases, like they're the
Is it
paisley,
Letitia one
beautiful.
I'm just
Yeah,
with
like,
the kind of wallpapery thing on the go?
yeah, yeah,
but I think it
Letitia
was
ones,
one
yeah.
of the Pro Shop V4s you liked. Like it was
yeah.
pretty
To jazz it
similar
up a bit.
to the ones I was looking at, like the really heavy distress ones.
Okay.
And I think that like the distressing on the, especially like the
I
Pro Shop
just
stuff I've seen,
they're
it,
unique.
do you know what? It just outdoes all relicing I've seen. Even on the, I think it's the, is it the V120s, the sort of Les Paul Junior ones,
Yeah.
with like the black over the red, just like the
The
way
Icon series one, yeah.
others, they're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
was
the thing
like,
as well is with the Icon series ones, obviously there's distress and done on them, and yeah, it's not the same as the Pro Shop stuff, let's be honest, but it's not Pro Shop. It's
Yeah,
like something that you can put together for that price point at a factory sort of thing, you know. But yeah, some of the Pro Shops, kind of relic stuff I've seen is amazing. We did an interview with Dennis just tail end of last month, and head office at JHS and Vintage, and he was talking about his kind of dream base, and it would be like, cry your eyes out, distressed sort of thing. So it's nice that they can basically send you pictures and the kind of, as they're kind of working through things, and they can say, right, here is your guitar right now. Is this, distressed enough? And then you go, yeah, or nah, let's just like, kick it a bit more sort of thing.
yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I think
But
like
yeah.
I think if I was going to order one, I'd love to get sort of like the distress one with Bigsby, but I think like it's a bit of a toss up because I'd also quite like a like maybe a B bender in it, or something really left field just to give it something a bit
Do you
more.
know, I think, I don't know if you've seen this, but just obviously we were kind of talking about Metallica before. Like, I don't know if you'd seen there's a Fender telly that James Hetfield used in the Unforgiven 2 video and some live kind of stuff as well. And it's like a kind of butterscotch telly,
Yeah,
but it's got a B bender in it. They
yeah,
look amazing.
yeah. It's
that's been popping up today on my feed a lot.
I spotted a like fit your own B bender kit, but I'm not rooting out a guitar and trying to fit that. I
You
just
do it wrong and cry. That is
Yeah, for me that would be Destroy More Than Guitar Kit. Like,
it was one of my I think it was the Affinity Telecaster I had from Squire. I brought a really fancy looking bridge for it. Didn't realise that it was a through the body like bridge. So I had to drill some holes through that and
oh,
put like I can't remember what they're called, the little metal bits in the back for the strings.
yep.
They've got a really weird name that I had to
Pellet
go.
amps?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
I had to like install those, and it. Do you know? I was pretty proud of the job I did, but
looking
yeah,
back.
nobody else would. No one would have paid me for that job.
Hindsight. I know. That's I'm very, very, very much of the kind of belief that sometimes somebody just needs to take your money.
Yeah, yeah. Just go no.
I know my limits, so know that. Interestingly, in the moment, I have got another Pro Shop that's been commissioned, which is the BS6, but the colour of it is going to be a pretty mental, kind of mangoey, as I've christened it, Solar Temple Yellow. So it's like, honestly, like this is just going to be like,
Nice.
think TV yellow but warmer sort of thing, and it's going to be a kind of matte finish, right? But on that, I was kind of desperate to get something with a kind of trem, but not necessarily like Floyd Rose. So the one I've got coming on that is, the Duesenberg Les Trem 2.
Yes.
If you've not seen them, they're really cool because you can just basically pop the back off of a tunematic bridge, put this thing on and set it up. I think I'm going to be getting roller saddles with it. And Mick Crone, who is another one of Vintage's endorsers, you see him on their website. I've done like demos with some other like guitars and stuff, but
Yeah.
he has got one of those trims on a BC Rich, and I think he might even have put lock and tuner on it. I can't remember, but you can use this thing like a Floyd, but you don't need to like root your guitar, which is where I'm at with that. So they're going to be sticking one of them on these my pro shop.
Well, I know you liked some of the like on the more sort of extreme color side of things. There was, I think it was like
that pink.
it was like a semi-hollow telly, and it was like a really deep, shocking pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Statement.
In the dark.
With this face.
Then we had about an hour conversation on what type of pink is not the right pink for a guitar.
Yeah, I'm quite a
controversy.
baby pink fan, but like with pink like that, I think that's the right pink if you want to go on stage and be like, wow.
Yeah, it's subtle. There's subtle pink, and then there's I'm gonna slap you in the face with this pink.
Like I feel like
it's no introduction.
I'd get a baby pink one, and it'd be precious, and it'd be polished and left on the wall, and you know. But yeah, I did like that bass.
Yeah, no, there's
a
pink bass in the Pro Shop gallery that's quite cool.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think with the sound of this, you guys are going to be pretty skint for a while.
It's endless. Honestly, it's such an endless battle. We've been kind of discussing because like having a bass and a guitar each works. Can go gig, can go record, but like we've got songs in standard, songs in drop D, and then like sometimes, and it'd be nice to have some extra options, especially for like some of the heavier songs playing.
We're definitely.
I mean, that is surprisingly heavy for a single coil telly, but I think having something with a bit of a humbucker on it and give a bit of it kind of helped being a 3-piece, giving a bit of that extra kick.
I reckon by the end of this year we'll.
I'm sorry. No, I will have.
It's a mission.
There's no reckoning this. It's a thing. We see one thing I find that has been pretty cool and given me a lot of, I suppose, kind of versatility is see on a couple of mine. I have got the Wilkinson hot kind of humbuckers, right? But they come with 4 wires, so I've been getting coil splits done on them, which has been excellent because it's meant that I can basically like play heavier stuff with that bit more punchy one out of humbucker, but push pull pot, and that's you back onto like telly on steroids sort of thing, which.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice to know. I've been looking at the V100, like the black over the sunburst, because it's a little bit more within my price range of getting the guitar by the end of the year than getting crazy on a pro shop. But
confidence is low.
Yeah, sticking I think just sticking some like a split coil in that would help when I don't want to carry 2 guitars about.
Yeah. Well, I think
want to take 2.
You would need to check that I'm not entirely wrong here, but I think those Icon ones that are the kind of black over sunburst, I'm pretty sure they are 2-core or 2-wire pickups, so you don't know you'd necessarily be able to split them, but the other thing you can do is get an extra capacitor fitted to the circuit and then push pull pot, and it'll do like a kind of bass bleed, but it doesn't sound as good as a coil split. It's just like a humbucker, but a bit more trebly.
It was only recently I found. I don't know why I've never thought of Googling to see if they're a thing, but I found out you can get double guitar cases. It's a pretty obvious thing you can probably buy, but I've never really thought about Googling it. And
with that, I'm going to love you guys and leave you and Google double guitar cases because now I have a new thing in my life that you find. No, that's, my mind is now blown. Thanks.
I spotted them on Thommen, and they do one for like they do their own for like 35 quid. So I figured to test them out and see if it will, hold 2 guitars nice. Maybe get a cheap one. See what being on the road with 2 guitars in one case is like.
We've got a car that holds enough space, so hopefully it'll squeeze everything in.
That is the bonus to.
That's the fun of touring, though, isn't it? How much can we fit in this one space? So it's fun.
It's one of the best things I used to have was this little Fiat Panda, and I remember we were going to record one time. It was after December, around about 2015. Ghost had just been playing the the night before, and it's went and been kind of hanging out with those guys. The Fragile Me got picked up on the Saturday morning to get taken into the studio by one of my mates who was playing bass with this like massive car. Awesome. Monday, when I'm taking all my stuff back home again and realise that I can't actually fit all this crap into my car because it's a Panda, you know.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of close the doors, maybe, but this.
They just start forcing it. I had
That was interesting.
before this, I had a Polo, a VW Polo. So you can imagine us trying to fit.
Feel your pain, yeah.
It was the Renault Twingo that was the difficult one, but now we've got something that's.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah,
like, I'm just under 6 foot, so you can imagine I had to have my seat all the way back just to drive, and then we had to contort everything into that. I don't know how we did that actually.
No, it is a bonus that we can now. Everyone can have some leg room and we can get stuff in the car.
Yeah,
so.
very privileged now.
Makes a difference in it. Just that little bit extra comfort.
Yeah.
And I think then music-wise, what have you guys got lined up in terms of gigs, recording? What's happening?
I mean, at the moment, because over the summer last year in the hiatus, I went through a period of being like, yeah, not going to bother, and the band kind of disappeared for a while.
It was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, we kind of spent the summer without sounding like the most insufferable person on the planet. We spent the summer discovering ourselves.
That's all right. You didn't go for like a gap year to Thailand, so it's all good, did you? You didn't, did you?
It was yeah. I mean, we didn't run off to Thailand or anything. We spent like 4 days walking across the Peak District, just like us two on a dog.
Yeah, that was.
And it was kind of nice to be away from all the social media stuff and not have sort of stuff dinging off in my pocket.
Yeah.
Refocused everything, didn't it? So,
to be fair, there's so much happened over the last few years with things like the pandemic and all the rest of it, and then kind of getting flung back into like, right, cool, we can do all this stuff again. You know, so sometimes that is like I don't know, the pendulum swinging from one side to the other sort of thing, you know.
I feel like that time though now, like it's really, really paid off in the sense that like we turned it into, right, what can we kind of like make of this situation? And then on finding Jake, like that's when everything started kind of like properly.
It's allowed to kind of jump back into it with.
So we've got
without the like 6 months of we're a new band, we've got to figure out how to play with each other, and it's like Jake sort of just come in and I've got to give it to the guy. He's our old drummer was he was a death metal drummer in a band in Edinburgh actually before he moved to Nottingham, but yeah, he was incredibly talented, but just not the right person for the band. And then finding Jake and kind of, he came into it and was like, yeah, I'm going to do my best to do the same, but I'm also going to play with it. And he's actually...
Well, he's got passion.
Yeah, he's got passion. He's filled the boots really well. And then kind of coming into this new year, I've had all the old tracks remastered. So on the 4th, next Friday, yeah.
Oh, that's close.
Next Friday, we've got the single Rock and Roll Woman dropping, which is a remaster of the previously released version. Yeah. And we are also playing our first gig back that day as well, which is by no means at all planned. You know, it's all just a coincidence.
Oops.
But it was kind of a bit of a happy accident that we were offered the show, and I was quite literally logging into DistroKid when I got the message.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the stars aligned and things meant to happen. But it's great to be able to play a hometown show as well, because the last show that Smoke Over Elsewhere played was a hometown show in April of last year. And we've
got the opportunity to kind of like speak with those different promoters, and we're actually cooking up like a UK.
Yeah, there's a UK tour coming later in the year.
I'm very excited.
It's caused no stress or worry at all trying to sort out.
No, it's just been kind of like organising everyone for the dates, for accepting the dates, and then organising the journeys, because we're going to be driving. Hours.
It's been quite lucky. Last year, I kind of had a tour planned and stuff going on, but then, you know, I think taking care of myself and kind of reassessing things came into being a bit more important. And then kind of coming back and sending out some emails this year, it was great to see a lot of the venues and promoters that I'd organised stuff with.
You've really grafted though as well. He's been sending emails to everybody wanting the nans.
Honestly, all the promoters in the UK probably hate me by now.
Yeah, but right, it's paid off because now we have like a good handful of dates and pending, but hopefully it's going to be a lot bigger.
I had a few of the venues kind of in January be like, whoa, summertime's a bit too far away, come back to us a bit later on. But,
we're
coming to.
You'd like to organise your day. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, we're in.
You have a calendar, right?
It's Lake District, Whitehaven on the 26th of July. We're in Edinburgh on the 31st.
Belper Festival.
Belper Festival in Derbyshire on the 12th of July. And then a lot of dates across August with.
I'm really excited about it because we're gonna it's not even just for we're gonna play shows and get paid or whatever. I don't really care.
You like a road trip?
I love a road trip for a start. And I just love playing. Like we're getting so many opportunities to play in so many different venues. I see it as
cool.
Learning.
It's honestly
as well.
It's all coming together, and I mean for me personally, I came up with the name Smoke Over Elsewhere in my garden about 6 meters from here in 2017 with one of my best mates, and then it was one of them where it was let's call a band this, and then you wait 3 years and you end up starting a band, and seeing it kind of all come together, especially we're in talks with a band in Ireland to do a show share, so we're going to go over there and they're going to get to meet here and play with us.
And America.
And a band in the States that wants to come to the UK, which
would make us real cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all come together, but I think also the show share idea is something that I'm quite passionate about pursuing.
Yeah, it'd be really good.
It gives a band trying to come from America over here with gear and everything is. I don't even want to know how.
The logistics, it's not much fun, is it? Especially when you look at the financials.
To be able to share gear, and even if we've got to use some lovely vintage guitars.
I feel like there needs to be more of that though in the scene, musicians and just bands generalistically helping each other. You don't have to do a lot, even just supporting each other's gigs or something.
I mean, Ireland's sort of Ireland's a bit weird because you message promoters as a band from England and you think, it's the same country, it's not going to be that hard, but it's quite difficult because you get my point.
We're in the same sort of vicinity.
I'm on tour.
So I failed geography as well.
And then on the other side of the country.
But it's one of them sort of approaching them. It works exactly the same, and I've found trying to contact people in France and stuff that's a little bit harder. Especially for some of the smaller venues. I've noticed that
one of them's called the Kinky Star.
I found a venue called the Kinky Star in Lille, which is fair enough. But I've noticed that some of the smaller venues, I had a response, and the guy basically just said, "Can I send it back in French?" And that was something where I fully hold my hands up. I sent an email in English, like a sort of ignorant English bloke, but it was.
I probably should speak some French,
but
I should look at that.
I think a lot of bands being at university, NTU and Confetti, there's a lot of bands, a lot of them emphasis on kind of doing it for real in the industry.
Yeah,
I think a lot of bands get a bit. I don't want to say frightened, but I think the prospect of kind of really putting yourself out there and going and playing some random pub where there might be 2 people and
doing the long journey, you might have to
2 miles left in the car and you're home.
It makes you think about things like that film, the Anvil film, traveling to Europe from Canada, and then ending up that you get there and there's this random venue with there's a lazy boy chair there and some guy's just going nuts in this thing, and he's the only guy there, and you're like, what the hell? It takes a lot to put yourself out just in case things don't go to plan, and it's a lot of organising,
Oh well,
Rotherham.
Yeah, it was. We played a show in Rotherham for
I knew your room was ticking.
A guy called Greg.
Greg.
It was at the Hive in Rotherham before it shut down, and don't get me wrong, it was great. We had our fee agreed before we got there, and the place was empty. They still paid us the agreed fee and everything, which was lovely. And everyone there was great, but there was another gig on downstairs, which I think just kind of confused people where they were going. So we ended up, I mean, we ended up playing for Greg. He loved it. He had a great time. But I think if you don't take the risk, especially nowadays with TikTok and Instagram being massive,
Yeah.
if you're not kind of willing to be a bit of an idiot and make a fool of yourself in that sort of sense of being out there, because I think doing TikTok, Instagram, and all that sort of stuff, it's really difficult. And as I say, you hate it because you have to watch me be a cringy fool on the internet. But
I know when to tell you to stop being too embarrassing.
But I find that if you're not willing to kind of make fun of yourself, then you know, you're not going to have fun with it either because you're going to panic too much about what people think.
It's like when you turn up to a gig and there's bands like throwing kind of like egotistical ice around the venue. And it's like, come on, let's all have a cup of tea and
you've said that. So I've got to tell this story. We played a venue in Cambridge. I won't say which one, just for being. And there was a guy opening the show. He was like played guitar, had a backing track. Like we thought he was about 12. He was 23. Like he looked about 12. He got wasted. Jumped up on the window ledge upstairs and just decided to urinate down into the street.
Oh man,
that's an example of an egotistical person.
Yeah.
However, I got the email from the venue with that in it, and I think you can imagine the laughter that came out of me reading it. But yeah, it's like I've noticed that there's a lot of people that think being in a band nowadays is going to be that sort of thing, and you know, get paid for everything. And
it's how professional you are. It's how how passionate you are. I think as well, because like I feel like there's a handful of musicians who are just go up on the stage for the money, and we've had experience working with people like that. It's a bit like draining if you're doing it for the passion of performing and just music in itself and the scene, then that's a clash.
I think it's the good thing is there is more. I have to say, I think people that go along to see music for the music rather than for the loose cannons. So, that's encouraging.
I do have to say, I think if anybody thinks that starting a band and trying to do it from scratch is any way to make money, they need to really reassess what they're getting themselves into. But it's
just in strings alone.
Oh my god! Like just stuff like that. It's
bass player problems.
If when you start playing guitar, you don't really think about changing the strings until you're gigging every other week and you're really having to. But I think there's a lot in the industry of being a rock star, which as a kid that was great, and I think I might have probably been one of the last generations where you really have that just want to be like a rock star without it being all over TikTok and Instagram and things like that.
Yeah.
But
traditional
actually going into doing this, and I think when people think that they're going to be making money and everything and then they don't, it just ruins the passion. And if you've got no passion for the music you're playing, especially this day and age, it's no record company's going to take a risk on you anymore. So you've got
I feel like you don't want to.
It's
not like that, but in my head,
there's not enough money in the industry for people to take a chance on a one-hit wonder.
You've got to have a kind of documented, following sort of thing. No, you're right. It's a lot of the case. It is definitely the case. There's a difference now in terms of you can want to do things for the sheer hell of being wanting to play the music and getting out there and playing and stuff, versus I don't know, maybe some folks that you see that might want to just put themselves out there for like I don't know a sort of different sort of fame, and it's like social media kind of fame and following and all the rest of it, rather than. And by the way, I'm going to do that by playing music, sort of thing. Like, it's not my thing.
I think, especially the way social media has evolved, and I think with things seeming to get a bit more like people are moving away from the heavily edited and being a bit more raw. I think when people are really passionate about the music and that's why they're doing it,
I feel like it
I think
shows.
it shows, and it's taking people. I feel like people that are more like that now are getting their little shot on social media because it's obvious they love what they're doing. I think there's.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
never
it's a
say the
pretty
name
nice
of the
way.
band, but it's they're currently on tour with Airborne, and it's Azamel. I can never remember what they're called.
Is that
Yeah,
Well,
literally dyslexia,
well.
and their name like is one of those that I can never figure out how to say it. But they're brilliant, and they do like daily TikTok videos. But the whole thing is very obvious that they're doing it because they love it, and it's
Yeah.
not much.
And it's actually entertaining.
Yeah, very much.
It's much more enjoyable to see that sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It gives a buzz to what
it's
you're
fun.
doing.
It's fun to see bands doing that now, where it's kind of becoming a bit more content creation rather than just being a band.
Yeah.
And I think if you can lean into that and show your personality and be yourself through it, then you're going to be on the right side of it.
We're gonna try doing more of it this year with like documenting things and like doing maybe little challenges on the road and like plastering that up on our little. You know what I mean? Just,
I'm intrigued now.
Yeah.
I'll be all eyes to this.
I've been working on for a while, but it's hopefully in the summer there'll be a bit more YouTube content. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, it's all exciting because like combine that with all the momentum kind of we're gaining slowly and then slowly but surely.
And the incredible risk that we take because I'm obviously a student, so I do this full time, but we've kind of decided that we're going to try and sort of make it as full time as possible over the next year. So
yeah, we're going to really
cool.
everything.
I'd like to not go from studying music to
burning out
40 hours in Tesco before each gig or something.
Yeah, we'd that's the thing as well. We'd a guy we used to play with years ago who said, if nothing else, even if you turn up and then everyone just ends up totally going to shit, free jam. There you go.
Yeah.
It's the way to look at it, bit of fun. Listen, Libby said thank you guys for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate it. It's been a blast to get to chat with you. This will be going out on Saturday, and I'll get links and stuff up for our socials and such. But listen, thanks to everyone else for joining as well, and check out Smoke wherever else we're.
Thank you very much. Lovely. Cheers. Thanks so much.
Thank you.